Yes, very pog. You know what? I'm glad we have more women than men here. You know what? Hell yeah. Fuck 𝗙𝗏𝗃s. Alright. Hello everyone. This is the second rendition of the political podcast, or political puns podcast, I should say. Today we're going to be talking about youth activism with Aggie, aka Daddyspiderlegs, for whatever reason she made her name that. I don't know. And we have Sawahma on TikTok, and I believe you like to be called Sarah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like some people like to say my name is like Giancarlo, but my name's actually John Carlos. Pronunciation would be weird.
My name is Sarah. My username is literally just my name, except with a W. I've had so many people like Sawahma or something.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's based. Okay, I think it's based in Epic. Right. Yeah. So we are going to be shouting out everyone's thing afterwards, so you can wait for that. But today we're going to be focusing around youth activism, the way it's developed, and the way that more youth are participating in activism today is really important. It's definitely something we need to talk about, especially since we youths now engage in different kind of mediums to try to disseminate information to people, whether that be online platforms such as TikTok or just using those platforms to organize protests, to get people to sign petitions, get people to donate, etc. So I wanted to start the discussion with if any of you have any do you have any experience with activism? I'm pretty sure most of you do. I was curious about if Aggie, do you want to go first?
Sure. So
go ahead.
My activism probably started about a year ago, freshman year, when I started to kind of get into it. You know, I was always, that kid people would be like, don't talk to her, like she'll turn everything political, even though it wasn't really a political issue. It was just like kind of social issues that we deemed political. But like I'd organize at school, I'd start like mini protests. Like I think as young as 14, we held a walkout for school shootings. I'd give out stickers and stuff like that. So it was like really small, but like that was kind of my introduction to activism until now. So yeah.
Sarah, do you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I never really engaged in activism, much less anything political. Not because I wasn't interested, but more so just because I felt like I didn't have a place in the political scheme. I mean, like what we see on the news is typically just like old white men doing activism and old white men talking about politics. Even in like liberal politics, it would always be old white men or old white women. And so I was sort of just like, this isn't really my place. I don't really care. And it wasn't until I started experiencing more like hands-on issues that I would face like as I grew older, as I hit puberty. And I started facing more like hits of like sexism and racism. And I was like, oh God, like this is not just a social issue. Social issues are political issues.
Puberty is not based.
But, and so I started getting more involved in social media around like late 2018. But I didn't start engaging. I was too scared to, but I didn't really start engaging in anything hands-on until actually probably last year. Around last year when I was taking my gap year, I started doing more volunteer work, and I was going to a lot of protests and things like that. But yeah, that's sort of how I got involved, I guess. It was just sort of like I think a lot of people who get involved in politics, at least a lot of people who I relate to very strongly, I should say, get involved not because they want to do activism, but more so because it's kind of something that's necessary at this point. Like if we don't talk about these issues, then what's going to happen down the road to us and our future generations, specifically like my kids, or like my friends' kids, or like my family members. It's sort of like a necessity almost, not necessarily just something that people want.
Yeah, totally. And before I give my story, welcome 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗃s, who just decided to join. If you can unmute yourself.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hello.
You can give your story in a second. I know you've been to like 20 protests, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Yeah. You can turn. Yeah, I don't know if you have a camera, but I'll give my story. So essentially, I got into politics when I was 8. like around then, because that's when I got access to the internet. And by the time I was 8, I was looking at different kind of stuff on content. I was basically just stuck up in my room all day, like looking at fucking YouTube content and shit. And as that happened, I got into rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and then I fell down something that was called the alt-right pipeline, or I guess what would be called that, right? And I watched a lot of reactionary content, and even though I still considered myself pretty socially progressive, I held a lot of like anti-Islamic and Islamophobic ideals just because of the rabbit hole I was in, and it's very unfortunate. And I was eventually able to grow out of that and become the based anarchist Chad that I am today. But during that intermediate period of time, I was pretty reactionary, and even though I was bisexual and neurodivergent, I still never accepted myself for that, and that really like caused me like a lot of the issues that I had in that intermediate time. And the reason why I bring this up is because when I got into activism about a year ago, when my girlfriend worked on a BLM protest, I kind of realized it kind of like I had the realization that it filled a hole. It felt like it filled a hole inside of me. I don't know how to describe it, and I just kind of felt alive. You know, I felt like I had value, and what I was fighting for was like worth it. And like I came to that realization like really fucking quickly, within the last like couple months. Like a couple months ago, I would not be talking about these issues the way I was today, and that was because of like how much activism I saw, and how much like on the ground like grassroots movements, and like I couldn't envision it, I couldn't conceptualize it, like and seeing it like happen like right in front of me, like it's just amazing to see like we can do something, and it really like drive me to like get out of that like fucking alt-right fucking whatever the fuck I was in, and now the person I'm a lot better, and I feel like just more happy and healthy because of it. And I do like recommend activism to like as many people as I can, because I think like gives you purpose and it gives you hope. Yeah, Skeps, if you wanna tune in.
No, I gotta come on here and now I gotta start telling stories.
Yeah, of course. What do you think this was, Skeps? Okay,
Fine.
you're lucky we give you a platform at all. Come on.
Bro. Alright, fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
alright,
so
okay.
hi.
Poor white man.
I'm the person that was introduced by 𝗙𝗊𝗀𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗜𝗡, and I've been politically active for like since I was honestly like 7. I was never not politically active. Like whenever not politics in terms of policy, but I remember in first grade when I was going to a private super Lutheran school, and we were looking at like election like little statistic things for like the John McCain versus like Obama 2008 election. And obviously like everybody at my school was like super like conservative, like fundamentalist Christians. So like they were all like trying to pressure you to pick John McCain. Like I remember after class, like asked my teacher like, what's the difference between John McCain and Obama? And my teacher just like didn't even know the answer. And I was like, so then like from that day, like I went home and then I asked my dad like, what's the difference between John McCain and Obama? I heard they're both like running for president or something. Like ever since then, like I'd like enjoy like learning about politics, even though like I was still like stupid politically. But like honestly, it's just kind of like been a offhand part of my life for like forever. But I was like a super like conservative, pro-life, homophobic dude until like 2 years ago. Yeah, that was like a long portion of my life. I remember when I was excessively pro-life when my entire family was pro-choice, and like I don't know why. I just thought it was like better. I don't know.
Because you were built different, Skeps.
Yeah, that was me in the day, I guess. I don't know. But I've always like passionately wanted to like tell people that they're wrong. So like I guess that kind of goes with my constant desire to debate people. But
it's superiority complex, yeah.
No. But
not really.
It's okay. You can admit to it. I can admit to mine.
Oh, I admit to mine too.
Well, maybe I have a mild issue with maybe thinking that I'm better than everybody, but that's besides. Even if I did, like it doesn't. That's besides the point. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess in terms of political activism recently, I mean, I have been to 23-ish Black Lives Matter protests.
That's cool.
I live in California, and I've traveled around doing protests. The worst ones that I've been to have been in some pretty predominantly conservative towns where we were yelled at and told that we were going to be hunted down as soon as Trump won the election. And
Nice.
that was a bit odd. It was a bit odd.
True.
You know,
That's
people
cool.
called me like a fake. People called me like a fake white person or something.
True.
It was weird. Like,
You are.
yeah,
You
But
are.
yeah,
it's true. This is true.
yeah. You don't vote for If
Hey,
you don't vote for
you ain't-
Trump,
you're
you
not
ain't
white,
white
you
or
vote for Trump,
something.
okay?
But like, I don't know. I feel like it's a fun way to like, because I did it at first because I was like, I don't want to be in my home. But then it was just like I enjoyed doing it because it's like the whole like idea of like activism and something that you can like, brag about in the future. Yeah, and I've been shoved by riot cops before. That was fun.
Nice, dude. I want that to happen to me. That's.
I've been a few police officers have threatened to arrest me and other people that were with me. Yeah, I remember one time I was at a protest and like people were in the street, right? So like a few people were in the street, right? Because they were like stopping cars and making them like put their fist up and stuff like that. And then like the police officers came and said that like this was a violent riot and like if we didn't immediately leave, they were gonna arrest all of us. Because like technically we were like breaking the law by like standing in the road, but he was like he like stated the city statute for a violent riot and was like you will all be arrested for being in violation of this statute if you like wait like 10 more minutes. And I was like, I don't think you can really do that. But like yeah, that was
True.
I find it
And
I find it funny to do stuff like that.
A
yeah.
perfect
But,
example of why Skeps is built different.
Yeah.
I don't know
and
where
to-
this. Huh?
oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
No. I don't know where this story's supposed to end, but those
That's
are like
okay.
some,
I was gonna say, kind of to add on to Sarah's point, like I think there comes a time, like I grew up in an all-white Floridian town, right? So it was kind of like if you talk about politics, like everyone's face, like I was the kid sitting in the back of the room, like every time the teacher talked about slavery, everyone would turn and look at you and stuff. But like I think there comes a breaking point when you realize that you can't ignore something anymore. For me, I think it was June, right? With George Floyd dying, and like my mom had to send my brother off to college soon, and she was just like sitting there like crying, and it was so weird for me to see this conservative woman who disagreed with me on everything like crying, because at least even like she knew like there was some injustice in the United States. And then I remember going on TikTok and then just seeing everybody talking about how people should peacefully protest and be like Martin Luther King. And then like I kind of snapped. I remember I went on huge rants all over TikTok talking about how none of Martin Luther King's protests were peaceful, and
True.
this had nothing to do with Martin Luther King, right? So you can't like equate Martin Luther King to peaceful protests and abuse his name like that and stuff like that. And I just remember ranting, and I remember like just
Montgomery bus boycotts, and he became like some symbol of how to like not riot or something. And it's like, and yeah, I understand your frustration because it's like they're trying to like use an activist for like civil rights to explain like why we shouldn't like riot for police brutality. And like while there's correlative similarities you can draw there, it's so silly that people like make it all about like trying to be like MLK when like those people's grandparents would have been of like rioting. And that's why it's so bad. Because like the whole idea of the that's the reason actually I'm going in circles, but that's the reason why the umbrella dude who was arrested in Minneapolis for breaking the AutoZone window and starting the riots, who actually turned out to be an ex-cop, that's the reason why people like that like start those riots. Because when you like start a riot like that, and like it encourages people to start like burning down buildings and stuff,
Mhm.
what do you think they're going to talk about? Like the activism or the burning down buildings?
Mhm.
And it's
Right.
it's such an easy outway that like to take, where like if you create that situation where there's something that the naysayers can blame that's not the activism, because like it's harder and harder to say that like that the need for change is like non-existent, but then when like but then if they have something that they can like blame all the like the violence on, or no, they have violence that they can blame everything on, then like it just makes it so much easier to just push the issue away. And that's
Mhm.
why I hate it when people riot, not because like it, you know,
Well, here.
hurts
Well, yeah.
property
Wait.
damage.
Nobody here likes it when people riot, right? Like that's not.
Well,
you don't-
obviously, yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying
Yeah,
it's
'cause-
not necessarily because of the rioting itself. It's because of how easy it is to take the
Yeah,
entire
yeah.
movement as a whole after people riot and just shift it from the activism movement to the riots, you know?
Yeah.
And
And-
I
that's
wouldn't
why
do it.
it's a very horrible idea to represent your cause through that.
I honestly, I mean, I wouldn't care if Black Lives Matter was like all riots.
True.
And because not because I view rioting as like a better way of protesting, but just simply because I think it's something that's totally understandable and justifiable. Not, like, I mean, as like I think Aggie was saying before about like just like when it comes, oh no, it was Papa G. You were saying like about how like institutional racism and these like this disenfranchisement, like the disenfranchisement of so many individuals. I think that somewhat contributes to like a justification, but I think another part of it is just like, again, when we circle back to like we were talking about like MLK before, MLK himself would note that like even despite him believing that peaceful protesting is like the best way to go, he would always talk about, like, by the end of his life, he was convinced that despite peaceful protesting being somewhat effective, there comes a time when violence is necessary. And when there comes a time when the only way to address violence is through actual legislative change. And if Black Lives Matter was all violence, then the only way that the government should be responding to violence is by actually enacting change, which they have failed to do, despite there being so little violence.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I think that even if it was full out violent, there would still be nothing done, because under this administration, it's not an importance at all. It's not a priority by any means, which is disappointing.
By any means necessary. Yes.
Well,
yeah.
if there weren't riots, it would be the same thing that happened with Eric Garner.
Yeah.
It would just like
It
get
would be
swept
the same
under the
thing all
rug.
around.
You know,
Because
the whole idea of because it makes it so much easier for people to just be like, oh well, Eric Garner was just resisting arrest, because like people aren't even talking about it anymore. Because the whole idea of like going out and protesting is like so that people can't just like move on with their lives, you know. But you know, it's the it's the constant reminder to people, and the lack of you know, walking in the street or kneeling during the national anthem just starts getting people's attention more. But you know,
I think it's significantly more symbolic than a lot of people realize. Just like literally just kneeling, or just like sitting for the anthem or something. It is like an active protest, and
well, that's the point. But
something much more
the annoying thing is that people paint that as a riot. You know.
True. I love when black people like kneeling at protests like harms me physically. I love when that happens.
I don't know. I think
my favorite
it was
thing.
It was kind of eye-opening. I think we forget a lot of times that the people that are opposed to this, like, they're opposed to it heavily. I mean, there's this thing going around on TikTok where people were going, if they kneel for our anthem, we'll kneel for theirs.
Oh yeah,
I think
Shut
that
up,
just
Frank.
completely, like, out in the open, exposed the logic that they believe truly that the anthem of the United States of America did not include everybody because they said if they kneel for ours, we'll kneel for theirs, and they played
Well,
a black like
Yeah.
church hymn. Like it kind of shocked me because it was like, I don't know, like this is like right out in the open, and I was like, wow, I don't know, like it was just crazy.
Oh no, it's great. Well, the problem is, right? I actually want to like talk about like, so with regards to like riots, I had to also do like a midterm paper about that, or it was a final. I can't remember. So like, I'm just like so like conditioned to like talking about this, and like, especially in school, and like it's just like for me like, I can definitely like. I definitely understand like what Skeps feels like about like, you know, oh shit, they're gonna like scapegoat the rioting and violence.
Well, they
but,
do. That's what
like,
they're doing right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, right. But like, I think it's a problem about how we frame it, right? I think our argumentation, especially on TikTok and like outline activists, they're just not that good. So like, a way that I personally have framed it to like different people is that right, nobody on our side likes riots. Nobody likes when people are suffering. Nobody likes when things are destroyed. Nobody likes disobedience, but we recognize that these things are brought on by conditions, by people being subjected to oppression, violence, and other subjugation on part of the state, and by the lack of state representation or like enforcement of laws towards like, you know, like it's like it's just one of the things where like I think like if we acknowledge that these things are happening and we can like kind of like help people understand why they're happening, and then we can add that caveat saying these things will not happen if we can alleviate these conditions that these people are under. I think if we just stuck to that line of argumentation, like I don't think anyone can argue against that unless you're an alt-right Nazi fascist, in which case your opinion doesn't matter and you are largely relevant. However, to the people that we can get on our side, and we can, like, you know, those disaffected neoliberals, we can get them on our side, you know, it's all about like, it's all about coalition building. It's all about building our movement. It's all about helping people recognize why people do the things they do and how we fix the conditions that enable them to do it.
I think it's really unfortunate though that we have to paint something as some certain rhetoric in order for other people to like just understand that Black Lives Matter. Like I don't think it's a difficult concept, but we have to make it like something that's, we have to justify it through so many different loops and like say that we have to pull up these statistics that show there's no correlation with coronavirus and then like it's just, I think it's so absurd because it's not like a difficult concept to grasp, right? But then somehow politics always gets in the way. Like, and when I say politics, I don't mean like political identities. I just mean like the political play of things, right? Like we keep having to like talk about these like corrupt legislators and then like try to talk about like how, and then they'll pull up with like Joe Biden and be like, oh well, he's a racist, so why would you support Black Lives Matter and Joe Biden? Like it's so dumb. Like we always have to play through this game of politics when the concept of Black Lives Matter should be generally understood very easily. It's literally in the name itself, and and yet people still continuously question it, and then we have to like go through all of these different arguments as to why like Black people deserve equal treatment. Like
I mean like
baffles me.
Totally. Yeah, I mean like, so like one of my best arguments is reparation, and you have no idea how long it took me to develop that argument. And the reason why I developed my argument to the way it is right now is because I've had to argue it since I was like forever. Like my entire town is like full of a bunch of Republicans. I've had so much fucking practice with my arguments, you have no fucking idea. Like, so I've gotten to the point where I am now because I've just done this over and over and over and over and over again. Like I live in a blue state, and like my fucking, and like my town is voted like 60% Trump. It's insane how much fucking like it, and there's like sexism in school. There's so much, and like I have to argue against it all, and it's fucking tiring and it's annoying. However, like what keeps me going is that I know like a Black trans woman in this country faces a lot more shit than I have to on a daily fucking basis. So I know for a fact that like what I'm doing is necessary, and changing people's minds and convincing people and making those arguments is like fucking necessary shit. If I want their lives to be validated and to be shown that they have value. But
yeah, I relate to that very strongly. I mean, I live in New York, so everything is blue, apparently, except for where I live.
True. It literally is like that, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like big blue pocket in the city, and then everything else is red. Like insanely red. Like my town is 94% white. I was one of like the few minorities in the whole school. like we're very wealthy. Like all these people are upper middle class, to middle class. Upper middle class to upper class, like high income families. A lot of people here work like in the city, like on Wall Street, like just insane. Like the people are very rich here. Anyways, everybody voted Trump, and I was like the liberal in the school. I was one of the only, not just like I was not even like one of the only liberals. I was like probably the only leftist that I knew of, or like the only leftist who would talk about politics. Which is why I ended up just like distancing myself from the town in general and the school, even though I still live here. I don't talk to anybody.
It's the exact same way for me, because like I face like literal like discrimination. Like I obviously not to the extent that like a lot of other people have faced it, right? But like to the extent to where like it drew me to like a really fucking dark place. And like I know that like I can internalize and rationalize that a lot of other people have felt a lot worse shit than me, and that kind of also addressed it too. But like a point I wanted to bring up too was just, and then other people can go because I know I've been kind of like hogging a little bit, but the reason why a lot of people are disaffected by our system is because they simply put, I'm stealing this argument from Bosch, so I'm just going to preface this. People just want to grow. They just want to grow. It's very simple. They just want to live their lives. They want to be apolitical as possible. They will vote however they were raised or whatever they kind of slightly lean into. Not really committed. They're not really like, as like concerned with politics as we are, as long as it doesn't affect their bottom line. So how do we get a person that's disaffected and just wants to fucking grill? He wants to make all those fucking hot dogs, he wants burgers, cheeseburger, all that shit. How do we get that person to expand their horizon and care about black people, trans people, and other marginalized people, right? It's something, it's so fucking hard. And a lot of the times it gets worse by the riots, unfortunately. But like it's such a problem with like the media. So it's important to have people like us here spreading that message to all those disaffected dads out there grilling, flipping burgers for their son or whatever. We got to reach them. They got to see us on the TV, on the tube, and saying like, hey, they have to see us making those arguments like, hey, that kid's all right. Instead of looking at TV.
This is also why I think that performative activism is not as bad of a thing that people make it out to be.
Yeah.
I view it as something, I mean, it's obviously not like the best thing that people can do, but I view it as something that is generally fairly helpful. And I think that without performative activism, I wouldn't have even involved myself in any politics. I would have no idea that things were even going on without just people posting random posts on Instagram. And like, that was all it needed. Like that was all I needed to be pushed to where I am today, like doing protests, organizing things, and like volunteering and working in like a bunch of different like volunteer organizations. And all I needed was like the very first thing that got me involved was performative activism that I saw.
Yeah.
And I think that people like demonize it. So I don't know. No, go ahead.
Go
ahead. Sarah makes a really good point. I think I was looking at the recent. I think, especially on leftist TikTok, we have a very big trend of like bashing 14-year-olds who.
Fucking 14-year-olds
post an infographic on Instagram, and we're like, well, that's not. I think, and I fell into that too. I was gonna make a video on it, and then I sat down and I realized, well, like that'd be kind of hypocritical of me, because like
I'm making a video about performative activism.
Yeah, like I got into like if I'm not gonna sit here and lie, if it wasn't for TikTok like a year ago, I'd probably still be the same unknowing little librite who probably like just was indoctrinated by her family, right? I think even though I understand why people don't like things such as like Hello Kitty says ACAB and like
dude,
like
I love that. No, I actually love that.
The indie BLM, because it's kind of trivializing, I guess. I still think it's like someone's going to see that and they're probably going to do more research. So while I do think that we need to teach like there's more behind these things than just like a cute aesthetic, I also think that the way to go isn't yelling at a 13-year-old for having a Hello Kitty says ACAB profile picture, because that's going to be pushing like them away from where we need to be. So yeah, I think that's really important.
Hey, one more thing. Whoever is Emily Hello Kitty ACAB 17, we love you. You are valued and you are treasured, and we appreciate the work you do, okay? So don't take this as us shitting. No, we love you, okay? Okay. All right, I love you. All right. Yeah, but I totally wanted to like bring that up too, because like, fuck man, I like, so like in terms of like feminism, like how like I surprised as it may be, I was not always the intersectional feminist I was today. Back then, like I was that like anti-feminist, like anti-SJW, like little fucker on YouTube watching like 𝗙𝗏𝗀𝗏 or whatever the fuck I was doing. And and now that I can conceptualize and look back at myself and look how I used to be, like I am disgusted with myself and like how I presented like that. And like sometimes like it's really hard for me to reconcile that I used to be like that. Like it's so hard. I know like you guys probably haven't like experienced that, but like well maybe Aggie, but like having that experience like almost like becoming like a little alt-right like tool and being groomed by them, like it worries me. I don't want that to happen to other people, and I know it's happening to other people right now. I know it has happened to people, and I kind of think that's like why what we do is like kind of important. Why online activism is important is so we can get them out of those holes, and we can construct our own pipeline to whatever the fuck, as long as they're on the left, right? Like that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to like educate and be constructive about the ways in which we approach like these issues. And like I don't know, I just wish sometimes I look at the TikTok community and the leftist community. I'm like, wow, these people are fucking morons. Holy shit, they cannot argue anything for jack.
Yeah, no, I think
but, like,
sometimes that's like it's super important. Like for me at least. To like sometimes I'll be sitting here and I'll look like at everyone else and I'll look like at the ANCOMs and like the Marxists and I'll be like, wow, bro, like wow, because like, I'm very big on not defining my ideology until I've done more research into economics and philosophy, and like currently I'm researching philosophy, but like for me when I talk about things like such as social issues and maybe even economic issues sometimes, I think it's really important to make content digestible, because like if I know, like me, a year ago, if I go and a year ago, I didn't even know what like bourgeois means. So like, if I go and I see that, like, I'm gonna scroll. That's why I think people like Maitreya, like like the way she portrays history in like kind of a meme format. Like, I love it. It's really interesting and it gets people to dive deeper. And I think that's really important. I think we need to stop kind of alienating people, kind of bullying them in a sense. Like sometimes I get mad a little bit. Because I'm like, you don't really have any actual like care for these people in these communities. But I think it's really important that we, instead of alienating, we try to open. I think that's a problem that a lot of people have like expressed their concerns with. They're like, well, the right is so open and the left is not. And I'm like, well, it's probably because like the left is kind of more intelligent, but like they do have a point, you know, like so.
Well, here I want to comment on two things. One, Maitreya, if you see this clip, come on. Love to have you on, all right? Love you, comrade. And the second thing is, right, when it comes to like looking at like leftist discourse versus like right discourse, the right is way more unified. They have this like they have this hegemonic culture where like they can focus on one thing and they can come together and collectivize over.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for them to like kind of get along. That's why all of the, I mean, I guess although all American politicians are really rightists, the rightists in the American spectrum are always better at like picking their primary candidates and stuff, and their debates are always more like clean and concise because they all agree on everything. It's just like which face you want matching the same ideals, you know? So
yeah,
I definitely agree with that.
I think it's much more difficult for people to move to leftism just because there's so many leftist ideologies. Especially in America, there's like a lack of understanding for most leftist ideas. And somehow, because I think the ideas of capitalism are much more appealing, right? Like the value of self-interest is something that we all understand very easily. Whereas like when we look at leftist theory, it takes a lot of reading and a lot of intelligence and a lot of brain cells to provoke, to understand. And I don't think a lot of people want to go through that effort. And
all I need is the one brain cell to read it, all right? That's it. That one boy. He's doing so much work, but he's been doing well for you.
There is a lack of understanding of leftism, not even just amongst the right, but like amongst
I'm gonna pull out a textbook for you guys. I had to like do a textbook on like shit, like, and it literally didn't even define communism correctly.
Yeah, no. When I was in high school, my econ teacher put a picture of AOC up on the board while we were talking about socialism.
No,
bro, literally AOC is in no way a socialist. No,
Yeah,
I
no,
honestly
and
I think that one of her biggest mistakes is trying to call herself a socialist. Because
Yeah, no,
I genuinely think either she doesn't know what socialism means, or she's like alienating the actual socialists from being like
no, I think
brandable in the
that's
United States.
I think
Because like
it's a big problem, you know. Like I think
Communism.
a lot of times we have like
Total state ownership, extensive welfare state.
all right, guys, I don't mean to get
Roll of the
political,
market,
but like
none.
communism is like it's when like
State
it's when the
capacity and
government
autonomy
like
very high.
It's like
It's
when my
when the
AP world
government-
teacher told us that North Korea is communist now. I almost
I
cried.
wish.
I think it's such a big issue. Like I know a lot of times people say like, oh, the U.S. system is like a leftist indoctrination. Like I don't know, maybe I'm dumb, but like I think because like we have economics.
wait, the U.S.
teachers
system is
who-
leftist indoctrination.
That's what people are always saying, and we have economics teachers who have a degree in economics, right? We have like people who have a degree in like studying governments and stuff. They'll still say there and be like, communism is when like complete authoritarian control of the government. And they'll say,
Socialism is when the government does stuff. The more stuff it does,
and then
the more social it is.
like it's coming to the point where like I think we have to express that you can't like use the U.S. school system to educate yourself, because you'll be like left outside standing alone.
It's the
because
same thing with gender. Like it's the same thing with gender.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I took biology my freshman year. My biology teacher said two gender, therefore two gender.
So true. So true, Sarah. So fucking true. All right?
So dumb.
Only
It's
two
like they
genders.
trust the education system, like the high school education system in America in full. Honestly, as soon as you get to college, you should throw out everything you learned in high school, because
True,
none of
actually,
that shit
very
is even
fucking true.
accurate or useful by any means.
Going to college
even
has
in
changed my
college.
mind completely. Like I just got back from like college, and I'm going into my senior year for high school. But I took classes over the summer. Literally, my entire perspective on like high school education, how shit it is, has changed completely.
Yeah, when
Like,
I started
literally-
taking college classes, like I think I started taking college classes last year during my gap year, and like I was supposed to be in high school, but I just decided not to go back to school. But I was like in a few college classes, and I was listening to this professor talk, and I was like, why did I even go to high school? Like, what was the point of
True.
those 3 years that I spent in this stupid place where literally all I did was just study for tests, where I wasn't even learning the right information?
Oh yeah,
It was
college is
ridiculous. And then I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna burn everything that I learned in high school out of my head, because none of it is useful at all. It was literally just training my brain to memorize and to I guess conceptualize information, but it wasn't accurate at all. Like
guys, literally, like my high school biology teacher believes that China synthesized the coronavirus in a lab. Like
Nice.
I think
that's
dude.
insane. We don't even have the technology to synthesize those compounds.
No, that's kind of
to make
idiotic.
a capsule. Like, holy shit, that's insane to me that he thinks that. And the first thing we did in college was just prove that. In philosophy class, we had a bio like major like come in and say why that was so fucking stupid, and I'm sitting back here and I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on in the United States, man? People are buying into conspiracy theories.
No,
Like, it's left,
I don't-
right, and
I
center.
don't, like sometimes it scares me, and like I've never been one who likes to compare Donald Trump to like Nazism or fascism, because I'd be like I'm not sure, but like sometimes some of the things that go on scare me, especially when like the tweets he was posting and like what his plans for the education system was quite literally kind of a dog whistle to the fact, or like him alluding to the fact that he wanted to just completely revamp our already like completely broken history system and just teach like America's great history.
Hey,
Like,
I love American
that's the thing.
exceptionalism.
That's the
more
thing.
than
See,
the other.
Donald Trump is by no means a dictator, and he's obviously not Hitler. But and I don't think we should be drawing comparisons. But there's a lot of things that his administration pushes for, like small changes in small aspects of what we think is small, but aren't actually small. Like just like little school curriculums, like these little changes. They don't seem like they would make a huge impact, but they could effectively like brainwash the next generation. And like I don't think that people notice. But I wish that it was talked about more. But there's like tiny things that his administration pushes for. Like he's obviously not a fascist, but I think that if he wins this next election, America could very easily have a simple route to progress down to become fascist. Which is what which is what a lot of economists have spoken about too. Like Paul Krugman has written a lot about this. At least I read a few takes that he wrote about on the New York Times about how like with the election system and a lot of rigging that could happen, etc. Like Donald Trump could easily take this election and then continue taking the next one, and then America could progress down fascism, which is insane. But what's insane isn't that like it could happen. Well, sorry, what's insane isn't like what he's doing. It's more so that like that literally we could become like a fascist. Like this could become a fascist country,
right?
Which is
absolutely 100%.
mind blowing because it's very possible. Which terrifying.
Sometimes it's so mind blowing to me sometimes where like we'll think back and I'll literally just sit there and be like, I'm literally living through what is probably going to be looked at as like core history in America. Like I'm living through that right now because I think a lot of times we're just like, oh, whatever, but like when you look at his presidency, I don't know if it's something different. Like it's to me it's something unique. Like
it is different. It absolutely
it is built different. It is.
Yeah, he's opening, like, especially when you look at what's happening now, like even if he denounces these kinds of people, he is opening doors for people to become more bold, right? He's opening doors
exactly
for a lot of ideologies that should not flourish. They're beginning to flourish now. So and especially like if he does this, he'll essentially be I know like it might already be kind of indoctrinating, but like he'll literally be indoctrinating a generation of children, like a generation of children who won't learn about slavery to the extent that they need to learn, that won't learn about the Holocaust.
We'll be learning skewed history about Native Americans, which is already a thing. Like people are already learning that like Native Americans like or savages. Like that's how I was taught growing up.
Holy shit! Wait, yeah. Can I talk about that real quick? Literally, this is a problem on leftist TikTok too, right? So, and when I took my AP, I'm very thankful for my teacher because he was pretty good. So when I took 𝗙𝗚, I learned something. I realized something. We don't assign agency to Native people at all. There are either two commonly accepted views of like Native people. They were either these tree-loving, hippy-dippy like communists, or they were savage brutes that were ruining the land. Neither of which conform to anything. Yeah. Literally, like I see this. I saw this on like this leftist account, and they were saying this like they were like these like. And I'm sorry if I'm like it's so fucking moronic. Like you make our side look so fucking stupid. It's insane.
It's so reductionist.
It's just and it's so reductionist and it's so fucking like racist and like I can't even like it's just so like I don't like learn if you actually learn about indigenous people, they're a lot more complex, and the reasons why they came about with the institutions and communal system they had was a lot more fucking complex, and they just were built different. I hate to bring up, but like it's so true. It's like they just think,
I hate it when people use Native American society to like justify like communism and mutualism, because like it's a very common myth that the Native Americans lived under this like communist utopia.
Yeah,
because
like other socially
their
complex
societies were incredibly complex and like very different depending on where. Yeah. They believed in a certain extent of collected mutual ownership, but they didn't believe in like a communist mutualist society. Also, sorry, I would turn on my webcam, but like, I don't have one on this computer.
Like literally, like every other complex nation or developed country, they engaged in warfare. They engaged in resource depletion. And while they did have communals, absolutely. And like people just fucking ignore that. And that's why like what we do online is so fucking important, because like there are a bunch of young people going into like fucking college thinking this shit, and then their worlds get fucking shattered. And at that point they are primed for radicalization. However, they can either go two of one way, right? They either go down the alt-right or they go down the left pipeline. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, they've been going down the right. So it's about like we are that intermediate step in saying like stop. You know, like I don't know that fucking TikTok people like that. They do like you know, like whatever. And like we are the bastion.
I gotta say that's in my top 3 political pet peeves when people say that about like Native American society. I gotta say the biggest one is when people defend Maoist China. That's the big one. That's the big one. When people defend Maoist China as a good example of communism, like
this Marxist-Leninist Maoist called me a colonizer the other day.
Wait, hold up. Was it that Marxist dude?
No, it was a different one. But that Marxist dude, I made a response video to him.
He was literally that was the video I saw on your For You page. Sarah, by the way, you should follow me. I think I commented on some of your posts, but you didn't notice.
Sarah, we literally.
Oh, I don't look at my notifications.
You should follow me. You should follow me.
Sarah, me and Skeps were literally like We're about to
No,
debate the socialist
I
hype
know.
house.
Yeah, we were
about
gonna
Maoism.
debate the socialist hype house
Because,
because
like,
one of them is a legitimate, like, actual policy, like, Maoist, and like, I was explaining to him how like idiotic that is.
Bro,
And like
this-
every time
they
you,
tried to tell me that
every time you bring up the problems, the within like Maoism, all they could say is, well, landlords, like that doesn't discount.
You simply have not read enough theory.
No. Their only reply is either that or go read Maoist theory. Like,
Have you read?
Have
they
you read the Little Red
Like,
Book?
have you? Well, if like, have you read Maoist theory? Like, I don't even think they know what they're talking about because, dude, this guy that I was.
It's just like excerpts from random speeches where he's saying like, let's make the proletariat. Like
This guy
literally,
literally,
he just disguised fascism as sliding the means of production, and he literally caused a mass genocide of the intellectual class in the name of like social benefits. And like,
Oh, also, he was so like arrogant, and he literally like one of the Great Famines, like was literally like caused or like worsened in part due to
no,
like.
but like the
his
Great
fucking-
Famine wasn't even the worst thing he did. Like
Oh,
a
no,
lot of people,
not
like
by
a
a
lot
long
of people
shot.
credit him for like the Great Famine, but honestly, that wasn't even the worst thing he did.
That was not one of the worst. No,
His
completely right.
genocide
was
of the
one of them.
intellectual class was the
Now,
worst.
like unironic Maoists actually have none of my respect because like they will call everything racist. Like they call every ideology other than Marxist Leninist Maoism.
No,
racist.
they're like, oh my god, you're
And
eating
they're
up
all
my
white.
Western propaganda.
This white male made a post saying that
True. Panini, go on.
That's
True.
what they say, though. That's what they say.
Yes. True.
And then
There was-
literally, like, they're probably also white.
they all no. There was this white
They're all
this
white.
white man who made a video saying that if you vote for Joe Biden, you're voting into like an oppressive racist system, so therefore you're being racist. And my friend like duetted it and was like, you sound stupid. And I commented on the video and I was like, of course the Marxist Leninist Maoist is saying that voting for Joe Biden is racist. And he was
Yeah.
like, and then he replied and called me a colonizer.
No,
And I was
literally,
True.
literally
you are
the
white, male, and cis, and straight.
have you seen? Wait, have you seen the?
Y'all colonized
Have you
me.
seen the socialist psychology?
True. Same, but like, hey, look. Okay, look. That's not the point.
And
Have
this,
you
and
seen
this man was calling my friends also he was also calling a bunch of my black friends racist against blacks. And like
Hey, if they don't vote for Joe Biden, they ain't black.
they ain't black.
True. It's true. It's true. It's scientifically proven. The melanin like is
It's
just sucked out.
scientifically proven that your melanin levels will decrease if
True,
you do not vote for Joe Biden.
These are facts. All right, make sure you vote for Joe Biden 2020, all right, guys?
Yeah.
Sponsored. All right.
Okay, so
It's just and then this man replied to me and he was like, you don't understand Maoism. You clearly you've never looked into Maoism. And I was like, bro, my grandparents grew up in Maoist China. Like under Mao. Like I can guarantee you that I know more about Maoism than you do. And I can
Like
guarantee
even the Chinese Communist Party that these people glorify so much admitted that the Cultural Revolution was a disaster.
yes,
Like they released a statement saying and apologizing and saying that the Maoist Cultural Revolution was a humanitarian disaster that should not be ever done again.
That's all
The
state
actual
propaganda.
Chinese Communist Party
State
said
propaganda.
that. And
Western propaganda. Shut up.
they literally said it. They said it. And
Read theory.
people literally like,
the ironic See, the ironic thing is that they'll say that things like that are like lies and just like literally just propaganda. But then like in order to like justify like Uyghur Muslims being kept in like literal concentration camps, they'll be like,
Holy
well,
shit.
two Muslim
these are
countries.
re-education
Okay.
centers.
Hey, look.
Have you? No,
Hey,
that
look.
was literally. I saw your video where you were replying to that one guy.
No, guys, I was talking to a Maoist like on my server, and they were literally like, "Oh, in the concentration camps, they're being taught etiquette and education. That's what they're being taught." And I was
True.
like, "Wow."
That's also what the
they'll own it.
Jews said about Jewish people, but
They'll own it. That's the thing.
we all know how
They
that
don't try to
turned
distance.
out.
They own the fact that it happens. They think cultural homogeneity is good. They It's so true for me. Hey, true. True. Yes. Oh, that's why
Seems legit. Seems legit to me.
we need the Z-axis. We need the
Only
Z-axis.
way-
We need to like
That
expand.
also brings me to the next point.
This,
like
and this.
I know that a lot of people love the political compass, but I also think that it's caused more
Like
harm
this.
than good.
Like we need to find these axioms right now. Like this is what I want to see. This is like the fucking graph. Like well, yeah, like
Because,
totally.
Yeah, I think it's caused a lot more harm than good, especially when it comes to like unity among leftists.
Call for a hegemony, comrade.
Because now
Glory
we
to
have
white words.
like I get like disliking authoritarian people, but like really you would rather align with an anarcho-capitalist than like
No,
I
fuck
don't know.
fuck lib unity. That's bullshit. Lib unity is the dumbest fucking thing. That's so cringe. I'd rather have left unity 100 fucking times. Oh, they're not.
No, literally, I can't imagine
Coalition
myself.
building
I
with
can't
an
imagine
anarcho-
myself agreeing with the socialist hype house, the people that make videos explaining why Stalin wasn't that bad. Like no, those aren't my people. Like
They're
like
not.
literally,
my
they made videos explaining. They made videos explaining how like Stalin raised the like gender equality in the workforce, and he like brought Russia to from feudalism in less than
Have you heard
5
the 5-year
years.
plan, Skip?
And I'm like,
Have you
so
heard of
so
it?
are they just ignoring the fact that his head of secret police would literally go out, kidnap, and do things with young Russian girls and then murder them? Like,
Hey,
is that
It's all
part's just
necessary for the
okay?
revolution.
Like,
Hey.
the fact that
Western
Stalin just turned a
propaganda.
blind eye when
Yes.
his like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Western propaganda. Shut up, imperialist.
oh,
True,
okay,
actually true. Mm. Yeah.
No, like seriously, I made that. I think it was kosher. Yeah, it was kosher. Normally, like kosher's kind of cool, but he made a video explaining that like socialism improved the lives of people in China, and I was like, nah, man. And I was
No, kosher's
explaining to him
usually
that
cool.
judging a communist. Okay,
No
yeah,
slander.
no. I'm not. I no hate
Silence.
him, but like I explained in my video that like judging a country by like their literacy rate is like judging a car by the type of leather that they use in their driver's seats. Like sure, it might make the car better, but it's not necessarily a completely relevant measure. And saying that like literacy rates outweigh being like literally genocided for being a member of the intellectual class, I mean, you can't really
That's my
say
favorite.
that. So like, I mean, even I am very pissed by how mainstream the Mao lovers are. So yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean,
Now-
like, then we wouldn't have people to whine at. But you know,
Yeah, I know. We're whiny liberals.
we love having people to whine at. You know.
Yeah. All right, Skeps, you ready
Yeah.
for this next topic? Because I know you have a probably.
Oh, what's the
different
next?
opinion.
No. What's the next topic? Is it something that I like?
No, I would love to. Okay, we were.
Oh,
we- I would-
veganism. I don't have a strong
No, no,
opinion
no,
on it.
shut the fuck
Although
up.
although I do eat meat every day, I don't have a strong opinion on veganism.
We'll talk about veganism.
I will vegan pill all of you.
No,
No,
I
I'm already vegan, you're
I will never become a
wait,
vegan.
okay. All right.
No, okay,
you
no,
talk.
no. I'm not saying I will turn you vegan. I'm saying I will make you believe that vegan ethics are superior.
Yes,
But
yes, yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I've done that
Okay,
to many
well-
people, but like none of them have gone vegan. They just now believe that veganism is better.
Okay, wait.
Eating animals is wrong.
I guess we're talking about veganism.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of like sects of Buddhism that honor like that do that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What? Okay, but what's the next topic? Because like we're all
Oh, yeah,
deviating.
okay. Yeah. So it's going to be decentralized versus centralized activist movements.
Ooh, guess what?
Okay.
I hate both.
Yeah, I know. Okay, right?
Whether
So
you're
here-
centralized or decentralized, the movement is gonna fail often.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
literally,
Well,
Indian,
wait, I'm not
Indian is
even
Mr.
done yet.
Decentralized King.
I literally had a whole introduction, and you're just fucking mansplaining.
He's Mr. like no leaders anywhere. Like
I think the
Alright.
most pragmatic way to approach activism is probably centralized because it's the most effective way to pass legislation and get like things done and if you want to contribute to like the system that we have today. But I think that decentralized activism is in my opinion, decentralized activism is the most sort of grassroots way to go. I respect it a lot more, and I think it's much more like it's much more heartfelt because it feels like it's a contribution to something that's beyond just what we view as a political scheme.
okay.
And
Also, if we're talking about revolution instead of activism,
We're not talking about revolution.
centralized is a one-way ticket to dictatorships, and decentralized
my
is a
God,
one-way
right
ticket
now,
to
not
also
We're not talking about
dictatorship.
revolution, Skips. That's another fucking topic. I didn't prepare.
I know. I'm just saying,
yeah,
if it's a
Okay.
revolution, you get a dictatorship either way.
So no, I'm not a revolution. Revolution is crazy.
Cringe.
But anyways, either way, I believe I mean I would do work in both decentralized and centralized activism, but I honestly believe that like the form of activism that means the most would be something that is completely away from like some like designated organization, just like individual work or like small group work in like fields that nobody really knew are active. I think that's just as important to build momentum.
So
Yeah, sure.
here's the thing. I approach this this issue from a couple of stances. Probably my main stance is that I believe that decentralized revolution is just, as Sarah
No, we're not
was
talking
saying.
about revolution, Panini. Shut the fuck up.
I keep saying
Talking about
revolution. Okay,
activism.
my bad, dude. I've had this conversation
Alright,
with too many MLs.
Okay,
Alright,
crap.
buddy,
I'm just
we
gonna.
aren't going 1920s Yugoslavia here. It's all right, man.
Okay,
We're not
but
there
okay,
yet.
buddy.
You can end your
Steps.
fever
We have to
dream.
wait.
Okay,
We have
buddy.
to wait until we can go.
Okay, buddy.
Moscow,
Okay, buddy.
Continue.
That's not the
Continue.
only example that you can give. Okay.
You can,
Anyways.
you can end your Yugoslavia fever dream.
Shut up.
It's all right,
Yes.
it's
Alright,
Okay.
all
Be
right.
quiet.
Go.
Be quiet. Be
Go,
quiet.
Talk.
Okay, so I believe in decentralized activism because I believe it's more optically beneficial in like every case possible. I think like when it comes to like organizations or leaders, what'll end up happening in a lot of cases is the broader public with a specific political agenda or even like, an ivory tower of sorts, like, I don't know, the Republican establishment or, pundits on Fox News. If there were to be a centralized BLM movement or a centralized Antifa movement or a centralized movement that was based around leftist activism, the centralized movement,
No,
especially
centralized Antifa.
if
Base.
it
No.
if it had
I would love me some centralized.
I would not
Antifa.
like that.
if it had so if it had a leader, if it had like an organization, if it had people in power in those organizations, it's a lot easier to demonize them and to say these people are radical, these people are communist, these people are socialist, these people are bloodthirsty, blood-sucking, they're gonna rape your white wife in your fucking
Yeah.
house. Like,
And, also-
That's what they're
All
saying
this is
now.
true.
Exactly.
And also, no.
That's
the
what
thing
they're
is,
saying right now.
With a centralized movement, like I mean, basically what Panini said, it would be incredibly easier for them to just. I mean, they're already doing it now, Marxist agenda or whatever.
It'd be a
Was
lot
it
easier to do
decentralized
that
movement, you
though,
mean, or a centralized?
because we don't have the
In-
defense of saying like, oh, but it's not an organization, it's just decentralized, there's nothing to say, right? Like
Yeah.
that, like we don't have that defense. Instead, we have to say, oh yeah, there is an organization, we have to defend the actions of the people within the organization, even if, say, we don't like ally ourselves with a particular leader. That's why I find a decentralized movement so much better, is because people within their own ideologies and their own beliefs can express theirs through the movement instead of being kind of chained
Let me ask you
to what
this
the
question.
leader believes.
Do you think it even matters? Because as we've seen with what you've already mentioned with Antifa, whether or not the movement is actually like, because Antifa hasn't even been like active in the past, like, I don't know, 10 years. Like, let's be honest. Like, there have been no legitimized Antifa protests in like recorded in like 5 years, or something like that. But like,
Yeah.
they can still blame all of these riots on a centralized Antifa and get half the American public to believe it. So like, for purposes of public perception, does it even really matter?
So Skeps, here's what I would say, right?
And because of that, okay, can I finish? I'll let you respond. But
Damn.
basically, dude.
Okay, buddy.
All right, go ahead.
Basically,
All right.
and my response to that is that because either way, it doesn't really affect the way that the public perception can twist the movement. I think that the focus should, instead of on how the public will perceive it, it should be on how effective the movement will work. And in that scenario, I believe that if there is a specific problem and a specific solution, a centralized movement is better. But if there is a general problem and various solutions, a decentralized movement will be able to solve the problem for all of the different problems.
Sure. Yeah.
So-
So can I talk? Wait, can I just add my?
Go
thing,
ahead,
'cause I don't
Papa.
want to. We can do so. Like,
Yeah,
so
I don't wanna jump us into debate or
I
anything.
prefer decentralized movements. But I obviously recognize the utility we derive from participating in both, right? I do both too.
Mhm.
But for me, what's really special about decentralized movements is that the ability for on the ground grassroots activism, the optics of that is very appealing to a lot of people, especially young, disenfranchised, marginalized people like myself. Like for me, like having that kind of like communal, like community-based, like driving, like through participation, mutual aid, protests, that kind of thing. The ability to like not necessarily have to like go through bureaucratic means of like organizing protests. You can just like kind of, hey, get your friends, like what one of the protests in my town did. Hey, we got our friends together, we organized this, we got like hundreds of people, and it was fucking amazing. It was great. Like for me, that getting that out of activism is like one of the most important things you can do, especially in a democratic society, right?
Yeah.
Politics is all about power. Right,
Mhm.
we say it all the time, and one of the ways to get power, especially in this country, is through the people. Power through the people, brother. I know I know there's partisanship, there's corporatism, there's lobbying, right? But one of the best ways we can advocate for our ideals and get people elected is through going to people, knocking on their fucking door, protesting on the street, trying to get people through education, seminar, fucking mutual aid, all that shit. It's cumulative. It's a cumulative effect of like all these factors going into like our ideals and what we're advocating for. So
Yeah.
generally, I kind of agree with like what Skeps is going with. However, I would argue that like the reform comes with us voting in these people, and the way we get those people to get voted in is by drawing support through grassroots act.
Exactly.
That'd be fine.
I mean, like, I would say with your, optics, I generally agree. Just through the nature of how our political system works currently, with like the news media and how divisive our like congressional politics is, especially, it's really easy to demonize other groups on the other side. So
Mhm.
I would say like the idea of like the people demonizing Antifa, like the centralized Antifa movement as being terrible, you win over 50% of the population. I think if we had a truly centralized Antifa movement, they would be able to win over 100% of the population, or very close to that, by saying, this is a centralized Antifa movement. These are the guys
But they're not
that are
being able to
radical."
do that with Black Lives Matter.
Well,
And
yeah, but
that's a
Black Lives
centralized-
Matter isn't
That's a
centralized movement either.
semi-centralized movement in terms of structure, but in terms of action, it's not a centralized.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So it's not, there's not like a leader of Black Lives Matter. There's not like, there are chapters around the world. There are local chapters that do whatever they want, that have semi-organizational structures, but there's no leader for them to say like, yeah, this is the guy that we want.
Well,
Like,
well, they have like co-founders, but the co-founders don't take like leadership roles.
and I mean, look how far they went with that shit, right? You know, so
Too
it's
many
like,
white men are talking right now. I'm kind of cringing.
I
Aggie, what do
know.
you think?
I only the men are. I'm fucking. Yeah. Anyways,
Too many
that's one of my
white
major.
people.
Another one of
I
my
can't handle
things-
it. My brain is smooth
Oh,
out.
okay,
Aggie,
shut up, dude.
say something
Okay,
intelligent, please. Help me.
I'm so mean, dude. Okay. I guess another one of my points that I would try to make in terms of a decentralized revolution, not only what Papa was saying with the whole grassroots activization or activism. Fuck, I'm making up words on the spot. With that kind of stuff, I think it's very important for us to recognize the utility of these different forms of protest and how big centralized kind of mass movements can really shift the way our politics works, not only from an optical position, but from an efficacious position, where we can truly influence the way our electoral politics works, the way day-to-day people go about their lives noticing these issues. And I think even with like the material conditions of today, where one Instagram post can see the eyes of millions of people around the world, I think it's a lot easier for us to basically convey information. Whereas, 100 years ago, you literally had to wait like 80 years before, not fucking 80 years, but like 8
Holy
days
shit,
before you
80
could send a
years.
telegram around the world, right? Like you had to live like Marx and Engels had to write back and forth about like the Communist Manifesto in letters, like back and forth day after day. They had to write letters to each other, and only occasionally were they able to like actually meet together in person. Whereas today, right, like, I mean, you can do things incredibly fast. So I think a lot of the reasons
right now streamed
Yeah.
live to like
exactly
YouTube.
right.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I think it's a lot easier today, and it's the things that
You
we're
need
holding
5-minute
back,
warning.
decentralized. Shut the fuck up. The things that
No,
we're
I'm
holding,
actually have to go to the
no,
5-minute warning.
the things that we're holding back decentralized movements in the past, I think, aren't really present today, and I think could actually even bolster decentralized movements today, not only from an optical position, but also just from a position of efficiency or ability to sway political. I guess the Overton window is a more accurate term, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Good job, boy. I love you. All right.
Oh my god,
Now-
dude, you sound like a
yeah.
slave master. Holy
Shut
crap,
up.
dude.
Dude, holy shit. You're the
Holy
one making
crap,
it so
dude.
fucking weird.
Savior
You did not have
complex
to make it
much?
weird.
Holy
You
crap,
made it
dude.
so fucking weird. Holy shit, man. All right, you need to be quiet for
All
a
right,
second.
now watch. Papa G's gonna start virtue signaling.
Exactly,
No, I'm
dude.
not. I'm
Dude,
actually
He'd be like,
dude,
"Oh,
yeah,
I'm a
stop.
Bro, y'all
feminist."
gonna get clipped.
I know.
Dude, I'm gonna be Vosh. I'm gonna get fucking clipped, dude. Holy shit.
Bro,
I don't
literally,
care.
Okay.
Papa Gut's gonna duet your. Bro, literally, Papa
Oh
Gut
my
said
God.
he'd duet your video, but duets were off.
Please, I love
That's the biggest fail, dude.
I know.
Be like
Dude,
me.
that
Turn
was
your
so
duets
bad.
on, bro. Don't be
Yeah,
scared.
no.
That was
It was
so
so
bad.
funny. We posted a video, and Papa. I started saying Papa.
The
G, but that's
the
it.
Papa Gut
The
literally
Papa-
said, "I would duet this, but duets are off."
Yeah,
Literally,
it
Literally,
was so
Papa
funny.
G, I'm sorry, but that's a big
That
bro
wasn't me.
moment.
No, I didn't put that.
I
was
turn
Blue
my
Pill.
duets on every
was Blue
video.
Pill.
Dude, why
That
don't they
was
just
fucking
automatically turn duets on? That's like the worst
Yeah, I don't
feature
know.
about
Okay,
TikTok.
okay,
honestly.
everyone, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. No one gives a shit about Papa.
Okay,
I love you.
guys, I gotta head off.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you should follow me.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
probably
oh,
gonna
I
end
don't
it
even
like
know
we're,
who you are. I did not know any of
Well,
you
I'll
guys
contact
existed.
you.
So
Oh,
should
I
follow
just
Wait, wait.
IDM'd you
Sarah,
my
before
TikTok
you
if you want to
go,
follow me.
Can we talk about one thing?
I think you already
Who
followed
are
Papa.
you?
Skeps be
No, wait, Skep, shut the fuck up. Stop saying that. All right.
Oh my god.
Sarah,
Literally.
Yeah.
Skeps be
you guys.
chilling, dude.
Yeah, Sarah, wait.
I'm
Sarah, before you go,
I'm
Here, no. The way we're gonna do this,
yes,
okay?
I will follow Aggie because I know you're at.
yeah,
okay,
fuck
so
you,
yeah,
I don't know. If Skep is.
I'm gonna add something to the
I
description.
DM'd you my at.
I'm going to add something to the description of the video. Essentially, what it's going to be is, well, I already have your guys' TikToks right now, so if you guys wanted to follow each other, that's fine. I'll add Skeps because I didn't know he was going to be on the podcast when I made the
Yeah.
schedule for the stream. But
Yeah, Papa
I guess,
G's just like join the podcast right now.
I
Daddy
know.
Spider,
Oh,
Daddy Spider lashes.
But anyways,
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure everyone knows who you guys are. But just in case, if you guys want to plug anything, we can start from Aggie's position, so she can plug whatever the hell she wants, and then Sarah can go, and then obviously Skeps.
Join my debates Discord. My debates Discord is really cool. We always debate like the morality of incest. Yeah.
Oh my God, Aggie, Jesus Christ.
You're gonna get flipped.
I don't want to. I want to leave. I want to leave it now. Okay, we'll link that in the bio later. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have
can I get
Not-
the link? I'm asking for a friend.
Shut up.
not too much to plug. I mean, I have my YouTube channel is the same as my username, Sawahma, SAWAHMA.
Yep.
My Instagram is linked in my TikTok. What else is there? Oh, I have another YouTube channel that I post music on because I try to keep it separate from politics. So if you want to follow that, it's Sawahma. If you just search up my full name and then violin after it on YouTube, it'll pop up.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, just before you guys go, we're just
Wait,
this is also
Skeps,
gonna be a
bro.
VOD. So wait, you need to shut
Bro,
up.
nah,
Alright,
he
so
doesn't care about
essentially-
me.
Damn.
Yeah, no, Skep. Okay, yeah.
Bro,
and-
literally, he's
oh,
just
wait.
like, come on the
Darren,
podcast.
let me
say
go.
something.
Okay, no, plug Skep so I know who you are.
Yeah,
I don't even know what this
exactly.
man's
Skep's
name.
then
All I know is that
one
he's
caveat.
white.
I'm a former member of the base leftists. I started my own TikTok account. It goes 𝗙𝗘𝗊𝗀𝗏𝗏s. That's my TikTok account. I don't want to
Right.
plug anything else because I have a personal life that I don't want to
Yeah.
disclose.
So
Okay, correct.
I guess for us guys, let's
No,
just
no,
say
no
we've
offense to y'all, but like
been
I don't
going
want to
through
like.
some technical
my
issues
stuff.
on our side. We've had a pretty big
This man Skep only follows 38 people, and I'm one of them.
yeah.
Huh?
Ah,
Oh yeah,
simp. Literal simp.
yeah.
Okay, go
I
on,
followed
Penny,
you
go
and commented on a few of your posts saying, "Hey, notice me."
on. Yeah,
and you
he's
were
a
like,
simp.
"Nope."
Yeah, we know. Okay, Penny,
Yeah.
go.
No,
I
okay.
don't even know who you are.
So if you don't know the dealio, our account got hacked a
Alright,
couple
so
of days
now you
ago or a day ago, and all of our videos were deleted and like we blocked like literally everyone we were mutuals with. So someone hacked us and all that crap. So we started a new account because that account got like completely blocked from posting for like a month.
I'll shout you out. I'll shout you out. I got.
um,
I think I have 2.5K now. I'll
Nice,
shout you
Pog.
out.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like we have 2 accounts. We'll probably still be using them, but like we're trying to get that one back. For now, we're using this account, and we'll link both in the bio.
Mhm.
Yeah, didn't you
That's
get like
amazing.
didn't you get a TikTok ban because of like a post that the hacker made?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's
yeah.
oh maybe I don't know actually.
No, we got blocked because the hacker posted something explicit or something, and then he also posted like a Trump 2020 thumb. It was fucking dumb.
Hey, whoever you are, you're a cracker, and I hate you. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. Anyways.
Racial slurs?
Wait,
Oh,
bro,
fuck white
I
people.
feel like the community of my race has been marginally
I hope so.
disaffected by
Yeah,
using
good.
words like that.
Yes, correct.
You're trying to keep
was the
us
point.
away from
That was
having
the point,
power.
Skeps. To marginalize you. Yes.
Bro,
Right.
I'm literally killing. I'm literally kidding. Like fuck white people.
Whoa, Skeps. what
Yeah,
the-
you're
whoa,
killing.
what does that mean?
Yeah, killing white
What?
people. Like honestly, like it's okay. It's okay. As long as it's a majoritarian race, I'm allowed to kill them, right?
Jesus Christ, dude.
As
Mass-
long
We're
as
gonna
it's
get
my
clipped
own
so
race,
hard,
I can-
Skeps. I think I'm
We're
just
gonna
gonna
get-
end the stream in order to preserve our optics.
Alright.
The
Okay,
little
wait, okay.
optics that
All
we have at
Nordic
this point.
Swedish
Okay.
people-
Bye,
Okay, wait.
guys.
No,
Thank
alright,
you guys.
wait,
This
wait.
podcast was amazing. Hope you tune into the next one. I don't know who we're gonna have. Probably JJ, depending on whether he comes. Maybe we might
I'll
have Jonah.
announce
I don't
that.
know. It was great before someone hacked us. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully these. I'm pretty sure we'll get like a bunch of stream plugs after the fact.
Yeah, and hopefully, yeah,
um,
we'll ask
yeah,
everybody
this
to plug
this
the
video
stream
get
on
a
it.
ton of fucking. Maybe we'll get a lot.